Happy Monday, everybody. Jordan Trask here of PreFocus Solutions. And I want to do a quick video to talk about maximizing your blogging efforts. Now, a lot of people are not even really sure what blogging is. They think that they have to do it on relevant topics that really spider out their reach, for their provisions or their products, their services. In reality, blogging should be, about authentic positioning and really establishing credibility and trust for your brand. I think a lot of people blog generally for SEO purposes, and rightfully so. What it does is create different topics or search phrases or just different categories online that people are actually actively searching for that have to do with what you offer. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are looking at competitors. They're looking at stuff that's online, that's performing really well, and they're really just duplicating it. So I'm here to really help you maximize your efforts by, number one, making sure that you stay focused on originality. Who's employed within your business, who's the CEO, founder, thought leader, even business developer that's coming up with new ideas or ways your business does things differently. That's a good way to be original with your blog content. Instead of really maybe expanding on search topics or definitions for that matter, or what is stuff or who is stuff, really talk about your brand, your business, your vision, what exactly you're doing in the market, what exactly your services are, what type of questions people might have, and compare and contrast here and there. General information is awesome and it's engaging and stuff, but it's really hard for you to be original or authentic when you're really regurgitating stuff that a lot of people can find elsewhere. One of the main reasons I encourage you to do this is because a lot of times people or businesses, I guess, spend so much time on blogging to get traffic, and sometimes people are just looking for general information. A lot of times they're students. So they might just be wondering what something is, or they might want a little bit more clarity on something that they already purchased or are planning on purchasing somewhere else. So most of the time you're really garnering traffic, which is cool and all, it feels great, but it's really for reaffirmation for something else. And you're not actually driving a lot of conversions, you're just driving a lot of views and reads. So, my first tip is going to be stay original. Make sure what you're writing about is relevant to your brand, not just relevant to the industry. And, I always encourage a lot of my clients to, write about things that people aren't actively searching for. I think the first thing a lot of marketers want to do is go for that big topic or that big question or, what people are looking to find out more about. And in reality, when the market's so convoluted like that, your chances of getting in front of them is so slim to none that you're essentially paying somebody to write that article for you, and you're going to garner minimal results. So if you really focus on an area that maybe has 100 to 500 searches a month, that's local if that's what you do, it's not as popular as 10,000 or 100,000 searches a month, but you might get more views based on that search because not as many people are competitive with it. And just one little touch point for SEO as well, the longer your keywords are and more not definitive but descriptive your keywords are, or more intentful, the better your chances are of driving a conversion. If you do a blog topic about, say you're a plumber, and you say what is the solution for a slow drip, and maybe you want to be a little bit more specific, like in the shower or under the sink or underneath the house in the crawl space. Focus on very intentful searches. Even go as far as being local. I love working with small businesses, so if I'm working with a plumber here locally in Phoenix, then I want to say slow drip underneath my sink in Phoenix, Arizona. Now if I want to be even more purposeful with it, then I can do a blog about what to do for a slow leak under the sink in Surprise, Arizona. Now I know that person lives in Surprise, I know they have a slow leak, I know they're looking for a solution, and in most cases their intent's pretty high. So back to my first statement, number one, start with originality. The second thing I do really well that I love to share with people And let me remind those of you that don't really listen to much of my content already, or you're just coming across me for the first time, what I really focus on and do really well for businesses is come up with ideas. How do they stand out? Why they're doing what they do, how they do it well, who's a part of the business, and why are they doing it? Why is it a benefit? A lot of whys, and that's really where I position myself as a brand entity, is helping businesses really stand out with that aspect through differentiation and harnessing their value and putting into action with purpose. So when I talk about key number 2 here, which is finding a really broad topic, you still want to keep those things in mind. You still want to personalize the experience for the consumer that's coming to your website or publication, wherever it may be, because that's where memories are created. That's where they remember who you are, who wrote that content, what was the purpose of it, and how you really positioned your solution. So when you think of a broad topic, we'll use the plumber thing, for example. Maybe we'll talk about slow drips. And this is all on top of my head here, so bear with me. I love authenticity. I don't like to script stuff. So slow drips, we'll use the same example. Under the sink, in the shower, and then maybe we'll say in the crawl space. I know it's irrelevant in Arizona, but I'm from Indiana, and there are crawl spaces. So initially we want to talk about slow drips. Opening paragraph, what is a slow drip? Where you might see slow drips. The problem with slow drips, maybe some of the eventual things that could happen that could really drain your money, drain your account, cause your problems for homeowners. Now, sitting back just for a second and you think about that, we just really came up with about 5 or 6 blog topics right there. But we want to keep it broad initially. So we'll talk about everything that we can about slow drips. Keep it simple. We're not going to go too extensive with it. But we're going to go down a list here about a lot of touch points in slow drips. So we're going to publish that blog. Now, this is the part of the process that I love to do, which is really positioning and strategizing and spidering out your reach on social media or wherever else you publish the blog or article. Now, you want to take every single point within that blog and you want to create basically an image, an original image for that point. You want to capture that. It doesn't matter the quality. It doesn't matter how great of an angle it is. It matters how relevant it is to that topic. And within that blog, you want to slide it right in there relevantly, and make sure you're organizing that externally outside of your website. So once you publish that blog, you want to look at the next 2 or 3 weeks, or maybe even month for that matter, and you want to determine where your audience is first and foremost on social media, what times of day they're online, and really what their intent is. Are they online maybe searching for just general information to check out their friends, or are they really maybe looking for ideas like I do a lot of the time? Now, say we were to create 10 points on the slow drip blog, and we have images for each. We know when our consumer audience is online or on social media and what channels we need to focus on. Now we're going to schedule those posts with the image. We're going to describe that point within the blog that's correlating with that image, and then we're going to put a link that goes back to that blog. So basically we're previewing different elements of the blog with different parts of the blog. You have to understand that people that are online, they may not be interested in slow drip. They may not be interested in slow drip in a sink, but they may be interested in the damage it can do to a house, or the amount of money actual drips from the sink can cause you over the year. One little statistic that's actually inserted in that blog can be so valuable and created as a post. You don't have to spend so much time looking for other people's or other brands' memes that you can use that's relevant to that blog. You can use and create your own simply by just taking a little bit more time and investing it in that blog. Now, once you have all these posts scheduled, if a lot of you aren't aware, you can schedule them manually on Facebook for the most part, but you could use Buffer. HubSpot's my favorite. And you can go ahead and write out in one afternoon all these posts after you publish this blog and schedule them out in certain days. Probably stay away from the weekends if your audience isn't on social media on the weekends. Stay away from Mondays if you know your audience is really busy on Mondays. Really be purposeful with what you do, because all that stuff matters. You can get in front of 10 people, or you can get in front of 200 people simply by thinking beforehand or pre-focusing before you post. And once you get all these scheduled out, you go ahead and schedule them, publish them, kind of kick back, relax. For most of you, that should be enough. You take one blog writing that you did in one afternoon, or one of your employees did for you, and you're able to have somebody else or yourself schedule all that out. And if you have 10 points within one blog, think about it. You have your initial post, which is going to go across all social channels, and most likely in email if somebody's subscribed to your business. Then you're going to have the 10 additional posts that get posted out on social media later on down the road with a purposeful time frame. So essentially, instead of publishing and posting one time, you're having a chance of getting in front of people in 11 different ways. Mind you, you're also getting in front of them with a different message. So what a lot of people miss on, especially bloggers and marketers, they'll hit you for that initial fee to write that blog, but that meta description or the title of that blog itself is not going to speak to consumers in the way that it needs to. The more variations you have of that blog, the differing presentations you have of that blog post, the more probable you are of getting in front of more people and more people reading it. So you're not necessarily having to pay for ads, continuously publishing something, getting frustrated, changing your marketers, etc., etc. I think that's one of the biggest frustrations of blogging in general, at least from my experience when I was in the agency realm. Not every blog speaks to everybody. So maximize it that way. Secondly, I guess the second phase of this video here is we want to use as many ideas as we can within that initial blog post. And without going into too much detail, I think you can understand where I'm going here. If one of the key points in the blog is how much money it's going to cost you over, say, the course of a year for a drip, initially you can write a whole new blog about that. You can have that statistic in that first blog, and then you can go back in there and write the new blog, but you can go back in and link it to the new blog that actually goes down 10 negative effects or 5 negative effects, or what actually it can cost you by having a slow drip in your house. And you don't have to copy somebody. You don't have to post an infographic or something with all these statistics. You could just be genuine. You could be authentic. You can have one of your service guys write it and maybe include a testimonial about one of your customers that actually did experience that it cost them a couple $100 over the course of the year, and they were happy that you came and fixed it, and now you've turned it into a story where it personalizes the experience. And you can continue to go down that path. You could even maybe have 5 customers and post 5 different blogs that talk about a slow drip. Next, you can go right down the list. What are the negative effects of a slow drip to your house? What's the damage it can do? I'm going too far there. What's the negative effects of a slow drip? Do top 5. Name the 5 negative effects of a slow drip, and then create new blogs about those negative effects. It doesn't have to be big time stuff. It doesn't have to be 1,500 words. It just has to be genuine so that your audience knows you care about them. This is all valuable information that you don't necessarily have to pay a marketer to do for you. It's just thinking about the process, thinking about how you help people, thinking about the ways you serve them, and then really the benefits in the long term, and then capturing their stories and how you've created a memorable experience or a positive experience for them, and you're tying it all together. And then we use the same process that I use here at PreFocus, where we're spidering out each one of those blogs, and we're maximizing the reach with great imagery, but original imagery. We're not taking stock photos and looking cheesy on the internet. We're making the experience about them and about us. We want them to remember us. We don't want them to remember the blog post. So all these things, spitting it out there as quickly as I can, play a huge role in maximizing every single one of your blog posts. Now, this may be overwhelming to some of you. You may not have followed me through it. I'm working on kind of a diagram that explains this. At the same time, I don't want to give away too much of everything, because not because of you that need to know this information, but unfortunately in my industry, a lot of marketers or brand ambassadors or whatever they call themselves really like to mimic what people do well. And this is something I really take pride in. This is something that, if done really well, can enhance the reach of a business times 10. I mean, you can't really monetize it. It's really about spending time on quality and sticking to your value in an authentic way. I'm not here to sell you on anything. I'm here to educate you on ways that you can do a lot better job in the efforts that you're already doing. And then when it comes time for campaign management, new ideas, or capturing authentic videos and being asked the right questions to convey to your audience, that's when I want you to come talk to me, see what I can help you with, see what I can advise you on, and see where we can improve. I think everything is done better with the pre-focus, and at the end of the day, I'm here to provide as much value as I can, just like you should. Have a great week, guys. Look out for some of these videos moving forward. I'm really starting to take pride in expanding on what my experience is and what my passion is, and what I love to do and what I do really well. So I'll continue to post these. If you guys have questions, you can shoot me an email, info@prefocus.solutions. You can always call me on my cell phone. Sometimes hard to get a hold of. You can ask my friends. 317-918-1360. Shoot me a text. I'm not one of those guys that's going to sell my butt off to you. I want to listen. I want to hear your story. I want to know where the value lies. One of my most popular social media platforms is going to be Instagram. It's @theprefocus. So check everything out. See what I'm doing. See what I'm up to. What my vision is. And I look forward to hearing from you all. Have a great week.